All right, I'm excited. We're Zooming. I found a Justin Alumbaugh. I see there's a football game behind you, Justin. What's going on? How are you? First of all, it's been a while. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Family's healthy, so can't complain. You know, wish we had a football season going right now. It's pretty weird. It's the first time I haven't had fall football since 1994 or 1993. But you know, get to spend some extra time with the family and hanging out with Isla and Benny and Teresita and the dog Bruce. So we're doing pretty well. We're doing well. Everyone's healthy. So, you know, nothing to complain about.
Right. And that's probably interesting. You know, what are you doing on Friday night? As I said, this is new territory for you.
Friday night, I made carne asada tacos with avocado crema for my family. And,
right.
My sister and nephew and my dad came over, and my brother-in-law, and you know, we got to all socially distanced in the backyard. Everybody following, you know, instructions and all that. But that was what I did on Friday.
Right. No, that's it. That's neat. Your family is great. You know, spend time with Teresita and everybody. And I'm looking behind you. I look at that. You know, that to see what we always would see and took for granted. I mean, people in the stands. I mean, how I don't even know what the question is, but I meant it's weird to see something that we took for granted and now is no longer the case.
It's surreal, yeah. I've always loved sports, and I've always obviously loved football, and I always loved the crowds and the games, and you know, practice and the process, and you know, it's sad. It's just it's strange too. It's eerie. It's a weird time for everybody. I mean, I think everything is strange for pretty much everybody right now. But you know, and then. Last week and the week before, you know, turning on TV and I'm watching Foskey play for Notre Dame, and then we got NFL with no fans. It's strange. It's a weird time, understandably. You know, you're in a pandemic. I don't think there's ever really easy solutions to anything.
Right. No, that's it. I was going to ask you more about that. I was going to Foskey. I mean, yeah. I'm wearing the shirt. I mean, how neat is that? You know, 2 Saturdays in a row. He's a big part of that team.
Yeah, I don't know. He's my son's favorite player because for Foskey's senior year, the Max Preps does the preseason photo shoot for the top teams in the country and all that. And you know, as you know, my dad used to bring my son to practice every day, and the photo shoot was going a little long, and Benny was only like 5 months old at the time, and so I had Isaiah hold him during the photo shoot like a football, and Isaiah was panicked, and he was very worried about dropping Benny. I wasn't worried about it because you've seen him; his hands were probably bigger than Benny's whole body, and so since then there's been Benny's seen the photo, so he knows Isaiah. So all day Saturday and all day the previous Saturday, Benny put on his football helmet or his bike helmet and got into a 4-point stance and started yelling, "I'm Isaiah the football boy," and he'd run over and tackle me when he was watching Foskey on TV. So it was a neat moment, I gotta say. It was pretty fun, and he was jumping around, and it was funny.
All right. No, and the other thing, when I talked to Foskey, this is months ago, I wrote down the question he wanted me to ask you. In that Folsom game, did you think he was going to catch that touchdown? That's a good question.
I wouldn't have called the play if I didn't think he was going to catch the ball. I hope I'd never call a play and go, I don't think this is going to work. That's not why I called it. Of course I thought he was going to catch it. I mean, he had some issues at times, but no, I had full confidence in him, and the play was there, and it's a big old target to throw to. So yeah, I wouldn't call and be like, this is a crappy play. I shouldn't be throwing it to Foskey.
I'll send this. This is fantastic. But that was a huge play. I mean, that made it was 0-0. I mean, tell people about that game. It was the Northern California Championship in the first game.
Yeah, they were one of the top teams in the country, and they were loaded on offense. And our defense, and obviously Coach Edson, they did a great job. Our whole staff, and you know, it doesn't hurt having Foskey and Henry and Jossie and those guys on defense. And the job that Wallace did on the receiver. Our defense was incredible. And, you know, that was Dorian's first game starting as a as a newbie sophomore. He had played some as a freshman, but so we were kind of treating him with kid gloves a little bit. We had to start opening it up in the second half a little bit because their defense was underrated. They had a great offense, but they had a really good defense that year too. And it was a tight game, and they were cramming in against the run. They were packing everybody in and kind of daring us to pass, and we figured that we could squeak on a play action. We could squeak Foskey by their safety, and we did. And he went to the exact spot he was supposed to, and Dorian delivered it right on time, and that shifted the whole momentum. And then after that, their safeties started playing a little bit deeper, and we were able to run the ball a little bit more effectively. So it was a huge play in that game. And that was a fun game. That was a very fun game. And to shut that team out is pretty incredible. It was fun.
Absolutely. And then another thing I was thinking about, Dorian that night impressed his future coaches because the Folsom guys that night are now the Sac State guys. And I joked with them.
Yeah.
I said, how often do you guys did they talk about 14-0? They obviously know what they're getting.
They know what they're getting. They know what they're getting. I don't know if Dorian wants to bring that up a whole lot because at some point they're going to be in charge of his conditioning and some of the behavior modification. I would keep that on the down low a little bit. But yeah, no, those guys are great guys. They're great coaches, and they're doing a great job. I'm happy for Dorian. It's a good fit. Get a chance to play early on, and and in that system, I would love to play quarterback in that system. I mean, man, gets to sling it all over the place. They're going to throw the ball 50 times a game, so it should be fun. He's going to do great there, and I'm really looking forward to having a season with him this year. We've been coaching him. I've been coaching him forever. So it'll be fun to finally be able to coach him, and hopefully things start opening up in the county a little bit and we can get the team together in a bigger group. We're still working out and all that, but it'd be nice to see the whole team at the same time.
Yeah, that would make things easier for you. Then in terms, it has a schedule. They say January. Well, what is your first game?
January 8th.
And who you playing?
I can't tell you yet, but you'll like it.
Okay, so this says it's somebody that wasn't on the schedule before.
Yeah, it was our first game. So when they shifted everything to the winter and the spring, most of our games matched up, but a lot of them, because we have different start times than some of the different sections, like San Diego County and the Sac Joaquin section. So some of the games didn't exactly match up, and obviously our first game was supposed to be in Texas. So and they're playing. I talked to their coach. North Shore's playing, I think this weekend. I think their first game is this weekend. So obviously that game isn't going to work. We're not flying out to Texas. So we had to pick up another game, and we're still looking for one more, and then our schedule will be complete. As soon as it's all done, I'll let you know. I'm sworn to secrecy from the RAD and the as yet to be named team's AD. So as soon as everything's done, you'll be one of the first to know.
Wonderful. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I don't want to make Leo mad, but the news is January 8th, you have a game against somebody that people will be excited to see.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
It should be fun. I think everyone's be excited to see anything. I know I've been watching more NFL football than I ever have, and Teresita can't even. She's not even complaining about it now. She was like, "Yeah, just go watch football with Benny." I'm like, "All right, good."
That's great. No, actually, that's a good point. It's a big game. You could schedule the Citadel, and people will be excited.
Everybody would be excited. I think if we're playing on a dirt lot against a Pop Warner team, I think people would be fired up. That's
also the Friday nights. That's people see. For me, the football is important. But it's the whole atmosphere. It's seeing Tom Bruce. It's like the scrimmage at Pitt, getting a nice tri-tip sandwich. It's meeting people. I see how you're smiling. You're coaching, but it's the community. It's Larry Colon and the band. There's so much about a Friday night, correct?
Yeah, it's the pre-football game coaches basketball that we have. We all get together and we get a sweat, and then we come in and we place our order for dinner and send out, like Yakis, our team manager, that guy used my credit card more the last couple of years than I did. We'd send him out, to Kinder's or Genoa's or anything like that, and RJ Marinello before him. And, we'd get our grub, and you go out, you see everybody, and, watch the JV game and just the atmosphere of everything. I miss it. I knew it. I mean, I don't think I took it for granted. I don't think I did, but it adds a little bit of nostalgia right now, just because, when it's taken away from you, understandably, I'm not complaining about it like that, but when it's, when you don't have it, like we have for the last 20 some odd years, it's, I think I'm going to appreciate it even more. And I'm really looking forward to coming back, and I'm looking forward to just a normal practice. I mean, we're out there working out, and, we're keeping the kids busy. But our poor linemen, I mean, we've been conditioning. all we can really do is condition. And, those linemen, they want to hit a sled or something. So hopefully that can come pretty soon. It looks like the county's easing up a little bit, and the numbers are getting better. So hopefully we can get something going pretty soon.
So yeah, what's the goal? I mean, there's twofold. The county has to approve practice, and then also it'd be nice. I think Salle had a plan to get the kids into class. What's going on with that? It'd be good to have kids on campus.
Yeah, I think everybody, I mean, we want to get kids on campus as much as the county will allow, and the county's dictating what we can and can't do, which is what they should do. They're the county health department. I shouldn't be in charge of whether or not we're coming back. That would not look good. So we'll see. As soon as we need numbers to continue to drop, and we need cases to continue to drop. And the most important thing is, the reason why the county has these guidelines is to keep people safe. And obviously we want to keep our kids safe, and we want to keep our coaches and, our teachers safe. So got to do as safe as possible, but whenever we can, it'd be great to get back on campus. And, we need to get in a weight room too. Some of those boys are looking a little too skinny for my liking.
And then you mentioned, they can't be hitting. Do you have those linemen running 400s?
Oh yeah, they'll be on the, it's 10:13 in the morning when I'm talking to you. About 3:40. Group one will be hitting the track for the 400s today. Group 2 will be right after that. We can't all run at the same time, but we got it pretty wired. So Group 1 will be on there. We got 6 different groups for the varsity. So 1 through 6 will be on that track. Don't worry, the alumni will be happy. We've gotten plenty of. The good news is the track wasn't shut down. You can run all you want.
So you mentioned alumni. That's great. Like, I'll post something about guys running gassers after practice, and then alumni will say, how many are they running? I mean,
I know.
It's a bad honor.
I ran 127 when I was a freshman on Halloween. I know. I probably do a little bit myself.
Right. And then the other one, you actually let me help the last one, the trivia gassers. Tell people what the trivia gasser is.
When you're done with your senior year, you're on the last day of conditioning for the final week, which thankfully for us has been the week of the state championship. And for the seniors, how much they run is dictated by how much knowledge they have of De La Salle lore. And you've become quite the historian. You had some questions that I didn't really even know the answers to, so we let you chime in a little bit. I don't think they got any of those right, but they got to run full gassers if they get it wrong, and then they get half gassers if they get the question right. So they know it's coming. It's fun, and they prepare. It's funny. They prepare as best they can.
Right.
They go over all the old stats and stuff like that. But we can normally come up with something to trick them. But it's a fun little game.
And then last year is the one I came up with that I had even double checked that. Everybody thinks it's DJ Williams, but the highest draft pick is Aaron Taylor.
We had to Google it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Me and Coach Jacoby had to break out the phone because.
That's another name you mentioned, Jacoby. See, that's the thing. I miss being at practice. I'm like the only one probably that enjoys a practice because I'm not getting hit, but just seeing interaction. Tell people who Jacoby is.
Steve, he's the nicest coach on our staff, that's for sure. He's one of the kindest gentlemen around. He's our defensive line coach. He's a big bear of a man, and he's one of those jovial guys that never has a bad word to say about anybody, and he's constantly positive, and he's a good opposite for a little of the coaching style that some of us have. I can be a little rough. Obviously Terry Etzen he can be a little rough as well. And you get a guy like Jacob out there, Jacoby's Generals. He lightens the mood a little bit, and he's great to have. He's a great guy. He's a good friend, and I talked to him just yesterday. We were just shooting the breeze a little bit. So he's been out at our workout, so I've gotten to see him. Thankfully, he's got a giant Rottweiler of a head. I didn't think that we'd be able to find a mask that would actually cover his face, but he found one. I thought maybe we were gonna have to get a tent and like wrap it around or something, but he found one, so it works.
And also under the practices, just little things I enjoy. Like it was a couple years ago, and a young player comes up to you and asks what to expect at the practice, and you look at him. Let me give you my prediction: pain. And went over his head. Tell people about Clubber Lang and Rocky 3.
Rocky. Hey, Coach Ladd. I mean, I can't take any credit for that line. We use it all the time. But the obviously came from Rocky. It's an old Clubber Lang one. Prediction, pain. And I remember it was one of those sinking feelings that I had in my stomach as we were getting ready to run. I was a senior. We were getting ready to run track, and my old teammate, good friend, Carson Brown, I don't know why he did this. I'm going to call him after it because I'm still upset about it. Because you never ask a coach what you're going to run before you run it, because then you're going to run more. So he asked Coach Ladd, he goes, "Hey, Coach, what's on the agenda today?" And I remember Coach Ladd, he was wearing those glasses. He just pushes the sunglasses up, and he doesn't even look at us. He just, pain. And I knew it wasn't going to go well. And it hurt. We ran a lot of 400s.
That's more that's made me so happy. The story goes back to Ladd. Of course it does. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like Rocky 3, 1983, him using that line on you in the 90s. And now you have flipped the script, and when people ask you a stupid question, it's in the back of your mind. You probably waited 20 or 30 years to use that line.
I wanted to use that since I was 18. Yeah, when I was playing for Ladd, I wanted to use that. And don't worry, teenagers they're just like we were, idiotic quite a bit, and they'll say something stupid.
No, that's it. It's come full circle. Another thing I was thinking, what about socially distanced? You got that new big screen. We should show Cobra on that screen. I don't know. That's a crazy idea I had. But you tell people also about that screen. People would see it on a Friday night, but you were using it as a coaching method. The plays would be up there, and also motivation, like the De La Salle being beat by Mater Dei, De La Salle being beat by Bosco, so they could see it, to motivate. Correct?
Yeah, we got that brand new digital scoreboard. It's incredible. I don't know how to work it. Thankfully Tony DiMattei gets that all set up. I just text him what we want up on the board, and so all of our off-season workouts, not right now because we can't use much equipment, but typically our off-season workouts we've been out there running and on that giant big screen. So last year that we had the state championship loss to Mater Dei on loop for about 4 months. So the kids got pretty sick of seeing that video. But after a while, when season starts, it's great because our scout team can look up at that video and we just show the play that they're supposed to run. We don't need as many of those scout cards as we used to. And, we can replay our practice just, a few seconds after we run a play, and they can see what they did right and wrong. And, it's a great coaching tool. It looks great during the game. They have all the highlights and all that stuff, but I'm not really looking at it during a game, to be honest. It's nice. It's a nice thing to have, for practice, and we get to have a little fun with it as coaches too.
Yeah, I just thought of something. If the season goes as planned and it happens, whatever it be, March or April for the championship, the teams we usually play, they might not have all their players. Their guys might be in college.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but yeah, a lot of those top flight Southern California teams, they get a lot of guys going early, which means that they're really good. You don't report to college early unless you're showing up to play. So who knows? I want to go to practice. I want to have a normal practice. I want to go, I'm not even going to be that greedy. I want to go in the weight room. I want to lift and I want to lift too. I got my, I'm in the man cave right now. I got some weights in here, but I want to go in there and drive some real iron, and it's, we're looking forward to that. The kids ask every day, Coach, when we get in the weight room, and looks like it's getting closer. So that will be a good day. That will be a very good day for the Spartans.
Right. Well, actually, see, that's why you're a good coach. It's taking it in stages, and that would be huge. So you guys literally haven't been in the weight room since March.
Yeah, we haven't been in the weight room since March. We got all of our kids, and that's a testament to, our AD, Leo, and Derek, and then Mark Wine, our strength coach. They came up with a workout bag, so they had bands. So the kids show up with that every day, because some kids have weights at home and some kids don't. So we send them workouts to do in addition to what we're doing at home, based on what weights they have. But they show up, and we're able to actually make sure that they're getting, some functional movements and some strength building with those bands. Those bands can be hard too. You do push-ups with those bands, it hurts. So we're able to get some good working out in with those, at home workout kits and all that stuff. It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing, and the kids are in decent shape. But there's nothing like driving iron. You got to get in that weight room, and you got to push some weight. And like I said, everybody's looking forward to that, and looks like it'll happen pretty soon. And hopefully we'll be able to get the team in there, 4 days a week like we normally do, and that'll be a step in the right direction. Yeah,
you mentioned the schedule. The first game you can't talk about, but is it the same? The other team. So who else is on the schedule? Or you don't?
Pretty similar. Most of the teams are the same. I have it in front of me I don't have it in front of me, but I have it somewhere. It's most of the teams are the same.
Like
just off the top of my head, the North Shore game is the one that we weren't able to do. We had to rearrange some of the dates for some of the other ones, and we're looking for one more game. We're hoping to get that filled, to get a complete schedule. But it's hard. You got to get the freshman schedule filled, and then JV schedule filled, and some teams it's a mess. But you guys don't have to worry about that. We'll figure it out. We'll get a schedule going.
Great. Is Folsom still on it?
Folsom's on it. Yeah, Folsom's still on it.
Okay, good.
We had to change the week on that one, but yeah, we're playing because the weeks didn't match up because start dates and other stuff. But yeah, Folsom's still on it. We'll still have Folsom on the schedule. So, and St. Francis is on there as well. So it'll be it'll be good. It'll be a good schedule for sure.
No, I'm looking forward to that. I'm trying to think what else. Who are you looking forward to coaching? I mean, all the guys, but in particular, is there anybody that you're excited about this year?
All of them. I think we'll have a good team. I mean, it's a good group of kids, Obviously, when you have a returning quarterback, that always makes things smoother. It's easier. It's easier in that regard. But this is going to be Lou's fourth year in some way, shape, or form with the varsity group. He's been on varsity 3 years. There's a lot of guys. I'm looking forward to how our line develops. We got some good candidates there, so I just want to see our whole team together. I'm looking forward to the whole group. It's not one in particular kid. They got a good vibe about them. They've been handling this pretty well. They've been working pretty hard, and they've been getting out there. And you've never seen so many teenagers excited to condition. They're fired up to come up. They're fired up to show up, to stay all spread out and do conditioning. So that's a step in the right direction. So like I said, I think we'll have a good team whenever, we're able to come together, and looking forward to coaching them.
The thing I think about, like the process, everybody, they see Aussie, they see Henry, they see Foskey. Maybe this, like I'm thinking of like Ken and Victor Egu, or other people. Who are you happy for people that have taken De La Salle football, gone to college, and now are doing something that's not football?
Ken Egu, he's one of them. Josh Cabral's running a ranch. Me and a couple friends and a couple coaches are buying a cow from him. It's we have stories of people all over the place. I'm every bit as proud of all the kids that have gone on and not done football in college or NFL or anything like that. Some of them are hedge fund managers now. Some of them are going into teaching. So all those guys, I've had the pleasure, and all of the coaches at De La Salle have had a great pleasure to be able to work with awesome kids. And like I said, this is another good group, and 4, 5, 6 years from now, I'm not going to be surprised to see them being very successful, in business and as people, and later on as husbands and fathers. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of that. There's a there's a kid that's at De La Salle. He's the son of a kid that I coached. I don't feel that old, but there's a freshman. We got a biller on campus, and it's Chris's son. And Chris was on one of the first teams that I coached, an awesome lineman. So I get to see him, soon get to see him in person, and his son's at De La Salle. It's crazy. So it's unique. And I'm very pleased to see all the success that our alums have had, and looking forward to more.
Yeah, tell people who Chris and Dave Biller are.
The Biller brothers. Those guys are great. And I don't mean this in a mean way. They're classic meatheads, man. Those guys are great. They're just salt of the earth, happy-go-lucky guys that are they're just looking for smiles, and and as football players, man, they were tough and they were good. And I played with Dave, and then Chris, my coach, and he ended up being one of the top rugby players in the country. And if you watched him play football, you wouldn't have been surprised that he was going to be a great rugby player. And he was one of the best linemen that I ever coached. He was undersized and all that, but he was just tough. And he was a grinder. He's one of the best I've coached. He's not one of those guys that went, to Notre Dame or Tennessee or the NFL or anything like that. But as a De La Salle lineman, he's one of the best that I've coached.
Yeah, just hearing the name Biller makes me smile. And
you can't help but smile when you hear Biller.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Cabral Ranch. I think Dylan Wynn works there.
Wynn's working there, yeah, and we got a little bonus since Canadian football. I'm letting the cat out of the bag a little bit earlier, but since Canadian football is not happening, we have a new assistant varsity football coach, Dylan Wynn. He's going to be coaching with us this year, and he's going to be helping with our D-line and our O-line. And Cabral's coaching freshmen. So wow. Dylan is working on that ranch. Yeah, they sent me a picture of picking up a tractor. So the tractor flipped over. I don't know. Those two working on a ranch frightens me, but I know they do a good job.
Right, but they're going to be taking care of your cow?
Yeah, there's Cabral's selling some cows. He's got them ready to go, so might as well. I know it's well kept. So
no, going back to Wynn. I mean, he's legendary. I remember 2015. You had Aussie, you had Boss, you had Damon Wiley, and they were damn good. But sometimes when they weren't motivated, you would say, "You got to be more like Dylan Wynn." You know what I had to tell Dylan Wynn? Nothing. And then exactly. And then
I had to tell Wynn to tone it down.
Yeah. Did he really? I mean, he was in on special. I mean, he didn't want to be on the bench ever, correct?
Ever. I asked him once during the state championship game. I was like, "Hey, you need a breather," and I thought he was going to kill me. I don't even know if he responded. The look alone was good enough, but the energy level that he played with was unmatched. I don't think that you could ever show me anyone that played harder than Wynn. And he played harder. He was our right guard, and then he was a D tackle and DN. He'd run all over. And people don't even know, during practice, the only time that I could get him to take a breather is PAT or field goal. I would have another lineman come in to give him a little water. And he got so mad at me about that, and he hated it. He couldn't sit still. He's like Energizer Bunny. So whenever we do a field goal, he would run up into the stands to catch the ball as it went through the uprights. And then he would run back down and go back in at guard and be mad at me that I took him out for a play to give him. So it was pointless for me to even try and get him water because he'd run up into the stands to catch the ball.
No, it is. I mean, it is, as they said, you were telling those stories, and then somehow he was with the Cleveland Browns, and he was on the practice squad. And then he was back for like 2 or 3 weeks, and he was there, and I met him. Mm-hmm. And I said, all the stories you're telling me, this is the guy. And I was intimidated at first, but he's actually a nice, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. He's a nice guy, except when he's on the football field.
He's a very nice guy. He's a new father now. And I love that. He's a man now, but I loved him as a kid too. He's got a unique gift for coaching. He's going to be great at it. And he's a great human. He is. But when he's on the football field and he's playing, or if he's coaching, he wants it done in a specific way, and that's physical. I guess we'll put it that way. He wants physical, tough play, and that's how he played, and that's how he wants to coach. So he's great out there with the kids, and he just has a natural. You've talked. He has a natural personality about him that people are drawn to, and the kids light up when he's there. So he'll be a great addition. It'll be fun.
Well, let me, as I said, another name that brings a smile. Actually, let me wrap up here by just asking you. I give you the final word. What would anything that I missed? What would you like to add, Justin?
I got no idea. I don't have any. I don't have any final word. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to teach. How to get the U.S. history test online for tomorrow morning. That I'm teaching. So no, I hope everyone's well. I hope you're safe, and looking forward to seeing everybody in person soon.
Right. No, I appreciate your time. Let me stop the stream here, and let's talk to you for a split second. But I always just enjoy talking to you. It makes me very happy.
Happy to be here.